price next to it. And and again, the bank, think of the bank looking at those three factors. We talk about rabbit holes, number one in credit. Well, everything is in the bank size or in the lending side is risk. So is it a good
Yes.
risk? Is it positive or negative? So credit score could be a positive or negative risk, which affects the prices of the rates you get to choose from. Well, hey, that 760 or 800 score, well, they're going to choose the same rates, but their prices are going to be a little better.
So in
Sorry.
my terms, right? Because I know Robert speaks technical, and basically the banks. Let me make it easy. The banks look at your credit history to determine how much of a risk you are. They want to make sure that you can make that monthly payment, right? And yet you're responsible enough, guys, to make sure they want to make sure that you're responsible enough to make that monthly payment. And the better your score, tells the bank, okay, he's less of a risk, which gives you the better pricing, better interest rates.
Exactly.
Lower the interest rates, okay, he's a little bit more high risk, so we're going to charge him a little bit more and on the pricing and give him a less better interest rate, basically.
Exactly. So your test number one, your credit scores.
And
That's 1 out of 3.
so number two, guys, the bank wants to make sure that you can actually make the payments by your income. How much do you make monthly, right? And what is the ratio you guys go by?
Well, a good way to do it is take your month. If you're if you're working for somebody, you take your gross monthly income before taxes. And a good way to really look at what's the max house payment you could afford in real life is times it by 42%.
42%. That's the magic number.
That's something that's safe to go. What's the max house payment I could afford? We would take your gross monthly income if you work for somebody as a W-2 employee, and you would multiply it by 42, hit the percent sign, and that's what your house payment's allowed to have. From there, we can reverse the equation to see what we equate to a purchase price.
Yes.
If you're self-employed, it's your net income. What's the advantages of self-employed is you get to write off stuff. I mean, it's harder to be self-employed. There's other advantages, and one of the advantages comes to taxes. So if you're grossing a lot with your self-employed business, and then you have a lot of write-offs and your net's very low, well, they're going off of the net, and they're going to average it usually over 2 years, depending on how long you've been self-employed.
Yep, and a lot of people have issues with that when they're self-employed because they use the max tax write-offs, and which makes their income annually lower, and that means it's harder to qualify for a loan, guys.
Mm-hmm. And that's where locking in your rate. Everybody's saying, "Oh, you got to lock in your rate." Well, once you're in contract, you can lock, but you can see the prices when they say, "Oh, rates are going up." Well, what they really mean is until the Fed's next meeting, where the range of available rates is very similar from the lowest to the highest, but the prices are getting worse next to each rate, which affect what you can choose. Your loan originator or your loan professional is supposed to teach you this and educate you on choosing the right rate. You're not supposed to just get quoted a rate.
Nope.
You know, that's the old way, because they're going to get the same salary regardless of what rate they give you.
And the reason why I'm always referring Robert to my friends and family, guys, because since we started working together, honestly, he's been like my best friend when it comes to loans, dude, because he breaks it down. He lets me know, okay, these are the comparison numbers, Ray. I know exactly what I'm trying to accomplish in my lifetime, and so I know which route I'm going. But he always puts everything down on the table for me to choose, right? What would you like to do? Regardless, he knows what I'm trying to do. He always puts it down.
That reminds me. So another thing when shopping for the right loan originator, the right teammate to help you buy a home, especially for first-time home buyers, is if it sounds complicated and doesn't make sense, there should be red flags going off. The truth will make sense. And trust me, that's not really complicated, especially, let's get back down to real quick before we run out of time. The three, you went over the
Yeah,
number
we're running
one.
out of time, guys.
Raymond was right on your credit score. Easiest to hardest, all equally just as important. One being credit, the easiest. Two is the most important. We went over the income, and that dictates what you could afford. And then number three.
So because of society these days, guys, we're all trying to, a lot of us are trying to compare and keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. So we spend our money like crazy, right? We buy new cars, we buy new clothes, Louis Vuitton, Lululemon, whatever you prefer, right? So having the reserves and down payment, guys, is crucial because the bank wants to know that you're going to be able to afford that monthly payment for at least 6 months in case you lose your job or something of an emergency comes up. The bank wants to know that you have some kind of a savings to back your and the down payment for closing costs and the down payment to buy the house.
So
guys.
yeah, number three is what do you have in the game? What are you bringing to the table?
Yes.
The down payment, the closing costs, the reserves, because sometimes they want to see that you have some type of reserves to, if there was an emergency, you could pay 3 months of payments if there was an emergency. So, the more you stretch the rules, the more that compensates. Oh, we want to push what you could afford. Well, if we had reserves, I can push that a little bit better. We can push the limits.
Absolutely.
So, you always have to have something kind of to counter what you're trying to do, so like we have a positive to counter a negative,
Yeah, so it's simple. You just want to make sure that to the bank, you look good on paper, right? As far as your income, your credit score, that shows that you're responsible. Your income shows that you can actually make the payment every month, and your down payment and for closing costs.
Yeah, and who's going to pay for all that stuff?
Yes.
There's a lot of programs right now where there's down payment assistance programs. Sellers are more prone when negotiating for a house to help pay your closing cost, all those costs we talked about that breakdown, that we broke down. So it is, we're already running out of time.
We're running out of time, guys. These 30 minutes go by so fast, but again, guys, call Robert. Get one shot your info.
Yeah,
Robert.
call me directly, 760-669-7813. You can look up FBC Mortgage, fresh baked cookies, easy way to remember. FBC Mortgage is an equal housing lender, one of the top 100 nationwide lenders in the nation. Their NMLS is 152859. My NMLS is 322. 918, give me a call anytime, 760-669-7813. Tell us how we can get a hold of you, Ray.
Okay, you guys can call me at 909-553-1138 if you have any questions on investing, the formulas that I use. And also, my wife and I were local investors in the high desert, right? So we have a restaurant as well called the Springhouse Family Restaurant, located at 16441 Main Street, Hesperia, California. You can reach me on my YouTube channel, Investing in Rentals. I found my passion. TikTok and Instagram at AquinoRay99. And if you need your weeds abated, I have a tractor service as well. Give me a call, 909-553-1138. Love y'all. Have a great
Have a great weekend.
Boom, baby.
Call us. Yeah, that show went by fast.
It went by too fast. Too fast.
That's exactly what I like to talk about right there.
This is your profession.
Yeah, that was it.
And I'm learning.